Okay, so
Yes, sir.
so you was talking about so you wouldn't say that Jesus is just a prophet to you.
I was, I said, to me, just a prophet just sounds like, and there's a Quranic verses that puts everybody in this, the major prophets and then minor or messengers, but when you think about any of them first, especially nowadays, because you have people who say they prophets. You find that in the church all the time, right? So just a prophet would be, look. That's a whole other conversation. Look at it, take it
Second, third hand embarrassment, bruh.
So
Anyway.
that's a whole nother. So just a prophet may generalize something that's big and God ordained. You know what I mean? And so the what Christ came with was miraculous and transformative. And
Absolutely.
so there's no way to make that small. I just, my faith tradition just don't make him God or.
So yeah, let me talk to you about, because this is interesting, man. Now, when I was reading the Quran and finding out about what it says about Jesus, it honestly blew my mind at how, because, man, so let me just tell you. So when I talk to Muslims and they'll say, yeah, he's a prophet, well, he's not son of God or anything like that. He's, just human, like the prophets. He just was, ordained and assigned by God and born miraculously and stuff like that, right? Did miracles through God. God did works through him. Got that. No worries. But there's places, man, like, for example, it calls him Allah's word, right? Or that he cast down to Mary and a spirit from him and stuff like that. And I'm like, how do you read those verses and think that he's like just merely human? Right. Not just say just a prophet, but merely human, a human prophet, let's say. It seems that it gives him more, than that. What do you think about that?
I think in the same way that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, the reader reads through the lens and sees through the lens of their orientation. And for us as Muslims, with all of those things, some of them maybe even unexplainable, we still see and hear through the lens of what they refer to as Tawheed, God being one and eternal. Yeah. So I wouldn't try to rationalize it for others. I would just say the lens and the orientation is what we see and hear through, and so everything that we read follows. Imam Muhammad, may God have mercy upon him, he used to say, follow the logic to its logical conclusion. And so if it starts here, then as a Muslim, everything that we read is going to be impacted by its beginning. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so that's the ground's already been set. So then, okay. So you're saying there's a starting point with how they'll read the Quran and they just carry that thread. So everything that they see in the Quran, they'll read through that lens that has already been established, right? So, which I understand. This is why, so it's similar for me. I start from the previous scriptures, right, and I'm reading. I want to be honest to what the Quran says itself, right? But at the same time, I do have a lens of what I've seen. Like in the gospel, it says in the beginning was the Word. The Word, Word was with God. The Word was God, right? And the Word became flesh, dwelt among us. We saw His glory as the only Son of God, right? And I'm like, it blew my mind that even something close to that was in the Quran. That Jesus is Allah's Word, that He cast down to Mary and the Spirit from Him, and I was like, yo, that's too close.
But you begin the conversation by saying that the Quran or Islam boasts of being a continuation of previous scripture. So for those connections to be found, kind of supports that rationale.
Yes, yeah. So that part of it, though.
Okay, that part of it.
So
Yes.
because you have that part where it's like, okay, yes, that's the link, and I would
Okay.
expect that type
Yeah,
of link,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's the other stuff there's that disconnect
Yes.
of the link, that
Yes.
he's the word of Allah, but he's merely a man, and just like his mother is just a human and stuff like that. And so, but according to the gospel, the word itself, he is God. He's one with God's essence, and he reveals who God is, right? And comes in the flesh. And so there's that fundamental disconnect with the identity of Jesus and and his nature. You know what I'm saying? So there's a link, and then there's the disconnect at the same time.
I understand.
You know, so it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know. When I talk to my brother, or he talks to me about it, and I'd say he's Kojic, but he was apostolic, and apostolics got a little, when I talk to apostolics, they almost make you think that they are completely monotheistic, first. And then I listen, and so I'm saying that to say that it really comes down to how you're looking at it. You see the connection, and there's obviously going to be some disconnect, because if it wasn't, we'd all be one happy family and proclaiming the same thing.
Probably still be Kojic.
Would still be, you ain't
Imam Kojic.
No, I'll be pastor from
Pastor
a Baptist
Imam.
tradition. My mother raised us missionary Baptists. My brothers them ended up Kojic, which is,
I see.
Kojic wasn't even, in the South, there was a few tents being pitched every now and then with revivals, and they were, we call them holy rollers then. It wasn't churches. It wasn't lying. It wasn't no Kojic churches then. It was missionary Bible Belt.
Interesting.
So I would be pastor, not Fatim, Torrance Shea, Washington, right? T.S. Washington. You got to bring the initials. T.S. I would be pastor T.S. Right? So, those differences are there, and it really comes down to how one is orientated and what system saved them, that indebted them to his ideology and his philosophy and his theology, and so whatever that system is, we cling to it.